I would like to start introducing our speakers for this panel. This panel is about media manipulation of the masses, which is, I think, incredibly important. So I'm going to start from the beginning. The first person I want to introduce, let me see if he's in the building. There he is. He's in the back. His name is David Augustine Jr., better known as D1, who's dedicated his entire life to changing the world for the better. Along the way, he has carved out a unique niche in the business community as an acclaimed rapper, mathematics teacher, financial literacy expert, public speaker, and social influencer. He has toured the country for the last 10 years, moving crowds from coast to coast while becoming one of the industry's most respected artists. His business mind allowed him to get out of his deal and establish his own label. A lot of y'all don't know, Lil Wayne tried to sign him, and D1 is one of the few brothers I know who said no. No disrespect to Weezy, no disrespect to Cash Money Records, but at that time they had all the big artists, the Drakes and the Nicki Minaj's and all that. He got on my radar because I said, wow, that's amazing that he understands that signing up for something like that, it could become a deal with the devil. So he understands this. So I hope you will join me in giving a round of applause to D1. Anyway. Maybe toward the end might be good. Okay. All right. So the second person I'd like to introduce is Dr. Deanna Bailey, Africanly known as Dr. Ma'at, who is a native of Baltimore, Maryland. Dr. Bailey is currently a professor at Morgan State University School of Engineering in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, where she teaches the 3 core classes. Dr. Bailey is a strong advocate of African-centered education and is deeply committed to make learning enjoyable for children. She is the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions, a family-owned and operated Baltimore-based company that creates educational programs that foster self-love, strengthen self-identity, and heighten self-esteem. She's also the executive producer of Meltrek, a multimedia company that teaches children about history, culture, and achievements of continental and diasporan Africans. Dr. Bailey is also the founder and the host of Truth to Power, Talk with Dr. Ma'at, a platform that is committed to elevating the voices of African researchers, scientists, doctors, humanitarians, and entrepreneurs. Please give a round of applause for Dr. Ma'at. There she is. All right. So the next person I'd like to introduce is Zakia Sankara Jabbar. She is the co-founder of Racial Justice Now and director of education policy at the Wayfinder Foundation. Zakia is a Pan-African nationalist who believes in and works toward the liberation of all Black people. Zakia is married to Hashim Jabbar, and together they have 5 children. Please welcome Miss Zakia Sankara Jabbar. There she is. Hey. All right. Our next special guest is Julian Walker. He's the CEO of PushBlack. Julian joined PushBlack in 2016 and has shaped the organization's unique voice and compelling Black history, culture, and news content, attracting more than 9 million monthly readers. PushBlack is big. Anybody subscribe to PushBlack? If you don't, you should. PushBlack is a powerful platform with extraordinary technology. Julian is also the voice of Jay and the host of Black History Year, PushBlack's signature podcast, which has received over 3 million downloads and has been given the nod by the New York Times. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Julian Walker. All right. Okay, so this is going to be fun. This is a good panel and a great topic because there's been a lot to discuss. And I hope the men will agree with me that ladies first is kind of what we honor and live by around here. So I'm going to start with you, Mrs. Zakia. How does media hurt Black people? Like, what do you think that American media does to damage our community?
Oh, you got time for a dissertation?
The short version, the summary. There we go.
Thank you, boys. Number one, I really appreciate this space and honor you for creating this all Black national convention. So first of all, thank you. Absolutely. I'm glad you picked me for this, because this is something that I have been observing the last several years. I think even more so than before, in terms of how the media is certainly designed to create narratives and certainly to condition people or socialize people in a certain type of way. And I see this manifesting in Black people acting against our own self-interest, because we have been, some of us have been reliant too much on what the television says, instead of, relying on our own intelligence and relying on our own, I would say, intuition. Sometimes I look at TV and I'm like, I am shocked that people buy some of this stuff, because for me, it seems to be obvious that there's a certain type of narrative. And it really is, no matter what it is, whether it's sports, whether it's finance, there is always some sort of, how do I say it? Some sort of something that just jumps off the page to me, like, okay, this is clear manipulation. And it's probably certain words, I think, that's used. And I also think what the clearest part is when they're drawing on emotion, because usually people don't make logical decisions if emotion is involved. And I think that's why, the manipulation piece really draws more on emotion than anything else, instead of people, really thinking with logic.
Okay. So Dr. Ma'at, I want to ask you, you created your own media, and you focus on a lot of the people that the media doesn't pay attention to. I've always wondered, you're super smart. You have a PhD in engineering, right? Yeah. So I don't know about y'all, but I feel like we need to also see Black women like this on TV too, right? Right. You agree? Okay. But there's one problem. She ain't twerking, right? So tell me, how do you feel about that? What do you think's going on there, where you have these amazing people that should be on TV, but what we see on TV is different from what you present to the world?
Oh, well, I first and foremost, as Zakia, I like to thank you for creating this platform, Dr. Boyce Watkins. I got to give you your flowers while you can smell them. So thank you so much for creating this space for us to have conversations like this, Ashe. And so, and Black power to the audience, Black power to everyone under the sound of my voice, people who are watching online. I've, just like Zakia, and just most of you, we've witnessed the power of media. And after witnessing, and observing the power of media, that prompted me to start researching the history behind mass communication and the purpose behind it. And my research led back to Edward Bernays, who was the father of propaganda. And this man said that the key thing, like to control, a democratic society, is to manipulate and control public opinion. Yeah. So the stuff that we see is all by design, okay? It's all by design. They have to have the majority think and behave in a certain type of way. And that's the power of mass communication. So to answer your question, Dr. Boyce Watkins, you asked, well, how does American media impact Black people specifically? Dr. Leonard Jeffries once said that whoever controls the image controls your self-esteem, your self-respect, and your self-development. And day in and day out, when Black people, when we turn on the television, when we tune into social media, literally we are inundated with negative images of ourselves. When we see Black men aren't seen. You don't see Black men like Dr. Boyce Watkins on television. What do you see? The Black man as the pimp, the thug, the hustler, the player, the criminal. The Black male criminal image is worth billions of dollars. And when you see a Black woman on television, what do you see? See the mammy. You see someone who's out of control, someone who's a loudmouth, a promiscuous woman, a whore. I don't know if I can say that, Dr. Boyce Watkins, but that's what you see. That is what they promote. That is what they promote. And so our self-esteem and self-respect are affected by these images. And lastly, Dr. Leonard Jeffries says, well, it impacts, these images impact our self-development. How does it do that? Well, our self-development is stagnated by the ideas that are implanted inside of us. These are ideas that help us, or not, it causes us to operate not in the best interests of ourselves politically, economically, and culturally. And so that's how it stagnates our self-development. And I digress.
Okay, excellent point. Excellent. All right, so David Augustine Jr., a lot of folks may not know. First of all, y'all gonna clap for this. Did y'all know this brother's actually teaching at Harvard right now? Yeah, let's clap for that. Okay, so many things I wanted to ask you, but I'll start there. Okay, so tell us, in terms of the exposure you've had, to media, and you've seen everything. And one thing that's unique about your career is that it seems like a lot of artists across all backgrounds have a respect for you because you carry yourself in a certain way. A lot of those guys can't stand me because I have to learn diplomacy. But you do it in a great way. You don't undermine or water down your authenticity, but you approach things in a way where they do hear you and they have that respect for you. What are the conversations that happen maybe behind closed doors about the way our people are portrayed, where you might see an artist, for example, that presents a certain image to the public, but you get them backstage, they're like a Rhodes Scholar. They sound like the most brilliant person ever, but they dumb it down for the world. What's kind of happening with that behind the scenes?
It's called cognitive dissonance. And unfortunately, many of these artists, they separate themselves from the ramifications of their words when their words hit that album or hit those airwaves, and they simply say, hey, that's just my job, and this is my real life right here. So I'm a faithful husband, I'm a good father, but what you see on that, on that TV screen or what you hear on that album, that's just my job. And my goal has been to talk to these artists. That's why I'm actually at Harvard, is I'm actually researching the impact that hip hop music has as a teaching tool inside the Black community. Because unlike other genres of music, to where people may just listen to the music, enjoy it for what it is, and then leave, there's this implied notion that hip hop, that rap, is autobiographical. So I talk to these brothers, I tell the rappers, I'm like, man, that the main thing we say in rap is that we striving to keep it real. And we don't want to get exposed, quote unquote, for being someone that we're not. So it's hypocritical for the artists. And I tell them that it's hypocritical to say, man, this is just my job. And, I'm not really trying to lead our people to destruction, So that's one issue that I see, is some brothers will try to just block out the impact that they know their words are having on the youth and on the masses. There's also this symptom of individualism in the United States that we all suffer with. Instead of collectivism, to where we think about what can I do that's going to impact the greater good of our people, we instantly think with a let me get me mindset. I got to get mine mindset. And then the people around me, all right, maybe I'll think about y'all after. That's problematic. And so we need successful leaders who are willing to stand up and sometimes do what's best for the greater good of our people, even if that means that you're not putting yourself at the forefront. And that's going against what we're naturally taught. But I'm excited because it does take bold leaders who can love in what's called a transformational sense, right? You can love someone in a very affirming sense. Oh, Queen, you look so beautiful. I love your locks. These pants fire. I'm feeling that. The white on them shoes, you can love someone in a very affirming way, or you can love someone in a transformational way, which means you're still willing to call them out if you see that they're doing some foolishness. And it's rooted in love. Yeah, y'all, we need to clap for that. Yeah. And so I'm thankful that I've been able to exist, just like Dr. Boyce said, in the rap game. And I love these brothers because they are me. I'm from the Ninth Ward, the east side of New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what hood they come from, no matter what they've seen, what they've been around, I've been there, done that, all that stuff. But brother, because I am you, I love you so much that I'm not just going to affirm you even when I see you perpetuating some negativity and some foolishness to our people. I'm going to love you in a transformational way, to where I'm going to call you out on that stuff But since you know I love you deep down at the bottom, D1 is not embattled in these rap beefs with people. But when D1 calls someone out, it really makes them think. And a lot of times they want to hit me offline. Hey, D, let's talk about this. What did you mean when you said this? I meant that you're doing some foolishness, bro. So you need to change. You know what I mean? And that right there, y'all, transformational love. That's how we need to be loving ourselves. If we just love ourselves and for the sake of the word love, if we're not going to call our own people out when we see that they're doing some foolishness, y'all see what's happening with Kanye West right now. Adidas was fine when Kanye West said slavery is a choice. And when Kanye West said things that clearly to us was a huge slap in the face. But the second that Kanye West spews what they call hate speech towards another community, we dropping him. You know what I mean? Adidas said we're going to stand by him in 2018 when he said slavery is a choice, but now they quick to drop him. This is one of the most amazing opportunities we've had as Black people to be like, wake up. They don't care about us. So we got to care about us so much. We got to care about us so much that it makes them respect us.
All right. So I just got my coffee. So now I'm able to focus. I was texting like, baby coffee now. I think that's a great point. You know, you talk about love being affirming versus transformational, because sometimes what we think is love can actually be enabling somebody's behavior, pushing them towards self-destruction, right? So I like that a lot. So Julian, so your platform, Push Black, I was so impressed with it because their technology is extraordinarily good. Their message is solid. You clearly have a purpose for the creation of it. Can you talk about, and you can feel free to answer that question I asked earlier, but I'd love to hear the mindset in terms of, because what you're doing is you're not just complaining about what's out there. You're actually creating a separate narrative that we can follow. In fact, everybody up here has created some form of media that contradicts what's out there. So can you talk about that experience in terms of the possibilities and as well as some of the challenges?
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me. Thank you. Sure. Let me share the stage with these amazing people up here. So I'll start with the first question, then we'll get into the opportunities and the challenges. First question in terms of how American media harms. What American media does is uphold the ideology of the ruling class. Yes. And it's controlled by the ruling class. And they seek to maintain the power that they have in society. The way that they do this is through ideology, these set of ideas that they put out into the world that shape our reality and justify them being on top and us being and remaining on the bottom. And you have the power to shape somebody's reality, you control those people. So the ruling class essentially has always been in the pimp game. What they do is look for others to exploit, to walk the streets and work for them. I've never been a pimp, but from what I understand, there's
yeah.
There's
don't player.
Guerrilla pimp and a finesse pimp. A guerrilla pimp will use brute force and violence to get what he wants out of the women that are doing the work. A finesse pimp will use language, sell dreams, shape the reality through words and manipulation. The ruling class primarily initially was in the guerrilla pimp game through slavery. They still do some of that, but they've seen that's more effective because guerrilla pimping has a higher turnover. It's more effective to be in the finesse pimp game. And they do this through mass media, through spreading their ideology, through selling us a dream and justifying us walking around rain, sleet, or snow in high heels, laying down with whoever to bring money back to them. Through media, through these ideas. The opportunity that exists ahead of us is to be able to reclaim our reality and to own our reality and shape our values through media. And what Push Black saw early on was that there was a deep interest from the community in Black history. We surveyed our community and said, out of these topics, what do you think will be most interesting to you? There's a disconnect between what the mainstream is providing in terms of history and what the community actually needs to understand who we are and what we must do, right? And so we are not serving their interests, but serving our interests. We look back to know where we are today and where to go forward. So we now have set up this amazing platform and product that digs deep into history and helps shape context about who we are and what we must do. And we've been able to leverage technology through all the platforms that exist in order to take it from a couple dozen people on the email list to now, as you mentioned, 9 million subscribers. The power that exists in here is being able to mobilize people. So Push Black also runs the largest voter turnout program of any group online, of any race that's doing voter turnout. We've been able to mobilize 1 million folks to vote over the past 2 years. But it doesn't stop there for us. Thank you. Our goal is Black liberation. We understand that voting is an action, it's a tool, but it's not the thing that will lead us to liberation. But what the power that that's before us is, what the power in that is that now that we've been able to work with the community to start shaping a different perception of reality and take a certain type of action in one way, now we can go deeper and say, what other actions and opportunities exist to mobilize the community amongst ourselves, to work in our communities, to work with grassroots organizations, and shape narratives that lead us to viewing the world in a certain way, so we can then take a different type of action and then get a different type of result that serves our best interests.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So what I want to ask, and anybody in the panel can jump in and answer first, is what's it going to take for us to actually own more media? You saw Julian's response, which was basically Push Black being built off of technology, almost these alternative systems. I'd be curious to know, when you're thinking about what you'd like to see in the world, Zakiya, I know that you have a great platform, and we have to have our own narrative out there. We really have to do that. What are some thoughts? I mean, anybody can jump in first. What are some thoughts in terms of us really being able to develop the kinds of media that we'd like to see?
I did want to. I'll start. One thing that we need to do is, as Black people, is stop supporting non-Black media. Whenever we tune into something, when you cut on your television, and you tune into a channel, or you get on the internet and you click a video, you are supporting those platforms. Okay, who are these platforms? A lot of them are spewing anti-Black racism. A lot of them are spewing a lot of misinformation, disinformation. And so we have to make sure that we control who we support, right? And so supporting more Black media, supporting Black content creators, the right contact, the right Black content creators, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Right. So we got to be supporting the right Black, the right Black media platforms. And also Dr. Boyce Watkins, because I thought about this question, and he mentioned it, he kind of touched on it when he mentioned the individualistic mindset that a lot of us have. Why don't we have a Black media hub where you have Dr. Boyce Watkins, Tariq Nasheed, Zakiya, Dr. Ma'at, Push Black? It seems like everybody want to do their own thing instead of us all working together collectively. Why isn't Push Black working with him? I don't know. You all might be, but I'm just saying.
I actually do work with Julian. But yes, go ahead.
But it should be a hub where all of us are working together, so Black people have a centralized location where they can access Black media. So we have to start thinking collectively instead of thinking individualistically.
I 100% agree with that. And yes, absolutely. Absolutely, sis. And yeah, you even had me on your platform, and I'm definitely interested in having you on my platform. So I have a Real Talk with ZSJ, which is on YouTube. YouTube is clearly not Black owned. And so the type of content that I have, I noticed, has been shadow banned. So a lot of pro-Black, African centered people who are not like talking about twerking and talking about negative things about Black people. YouTube doesn't usually like that type of content, right? So we have to, so one of the things that I want to talk about that my sister didn't mention is our appetite. Like, what is our appetite? Like, what are we clicking on, right? Like, so we should be, no, seriously, like we should be intentionally looking for positive Black content that is uplifting us, not tearing our image down, not contributing to our own oppression by clicking on things that literally is continuing to make us look like buffoons. Yeah, I'm not going to say the other words, but things that just continuously make our image negative. So controlling our appetite, changing our appetite for what we're looking for on these platforms. And I could not agree more with a Black hub. Let's like, that need to be something coming out of this panel that we create. Seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wrote that down. I wrote that concept down. I think it's a great idea. And D, I want to ask you that. So feel free to, you can jump in on the media part.
All right.
And I'm thinking about, like, to me, hip hop music is a type of media in itself.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I remember when you, another thing that D did that doesn't happen often is you had a record deal and then you got out of the deal so that you could become an independent artist. So, because you saw the limitations of that. And it seems that there are a lot of independent artists now, a lot of independent ways to put music out there. But then sometimes you still see certain types of music elevate, and it's not like you can turn and say, oh, the record label did this. Yep. Sometimes we do that, right? Somebody puts something on YouTube and they got 100 million views or whatever. So what do you think in terms of in the hip hop space, changing that media called hip hop, and instead of it being used as that weapon of mass destruction, you having it be a weapon of, or not even a weapon, a tool of mass empowerment, or whatever the case may be?
That's the only reason why I exist as D1. I don't have the narrative, ladies and gentlemen, of if it wasn't for rap, I'd be dead or in jail. That's not my story. I was blessed. I'm college educated. I graduated from college. I was a middle school teacher. For those who don't know, like, I was just committed to having a purpose-driven life and making God and my community proud and my family before I became a rapper. I literally got into it. That's why this panel is perfect for me, because I got into it because I was attracted to the platform and I was attracted to the industry that had been created but polluted and diluted so much from what I knew was authentic, real Blackness. You know what I'm saying? There was this fake definition of real that began to exist and then get mass marketed. So now you got young, impressionable kids coming up who, if a child has never learned multiplication before, and then you tell them that 6 times 4 equals 39, they're going to believe that if they're learning multiplication from you for the first time. So it's important to be like, who are our teachers? And these mass media companies, these record labels, don't have our best interest in mind. So they're like, you know what we'll do? We'll give a quick advance check to some of the artists who are going to teach their youth metaphorically that 6 times 4 is 39, aka going to teach the youth that killing your own is what's real, that selling dope to your own community and glorifying it is really what's gangster, that being able to glorify sleeping with somebody else, baby mama, and all that type of stuff, that's what being a real man is. We'll give them a little bit of bread for their pocket and let them miseducate themselves. That's what I saw happening. So I was like, yo, all I know to do is to be a teacher. So I'm still a teacher, y'all, but I'm just a teacher inside the rap game now. You feel me? And it's different. Yeah. And as much as I want to stick on that topic, what you said, Queen, it is so real. I just threw an event on Harvard University's campus called Is Trap Music a Trap? Does hip hop lead us to the dance floor or the graveyard? You heard me? Because I'm like, all these Black students I see going to Harvard, y'all are freaking geniuses. Why are y'all listening to death and murder music all day long? It just don't make sense to me. And at a certain point, we have to be held accountable for what we are choosing to consume. You know what I mean? And it makes me think of, I literally wrote a song about this. It's called People Don't Want That Real quick, 30 seconds. People don't want that real. They just say that they do. Nah, people don't want that real. And I'm one of them too. I'm so easily entertained by ratchet activity, violent negative imagery, always seem to interest me. I tell myself, no more music glorifying evil, selling drugs, womanizing, killing our people. Then I hear a song with a tight beat and can't deny it. The hook is catchy, so I subconsciously memorize. Next thing you know, I'm reciting all the lyrics. And my day don't feel complete unless I hear it. inviting darkness in my spirit. This can't be light. I'm craving what I'm supposed to be fighting. This can't be right. I must be blind to the effects. This can't be sight. Death is in the power of the tongue, and this can't be life. Be careful what you get involved with. Be careful what you get involved with, because you can't support a cause, but then hate the effects that it causes. People don't want that real. That's the answer.
That's that real right there. I love it. I love it.
There's some science, real quick. Like there's science behind like manipulating people's appetite. Like he was saying, like the beat. Like I don't know all of it, but music, they've literally been studying this for years. You know, like this. So what people are attracted to is manipulated. That's why I say we have to like make sure that we're thinking like, okay, why am I attracted to this? And I'm saying this like as a parent, as someone that runs an education justice organization. I have a 15-year-old son, and he loves this is a brother, I believe. Oh my God, him. I'm like, and then I listened to him, and I was like, what? Because I'm like, my son is conscious, like he's been raised, you know what I mean? So I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like as a parent, like. I'm like, why are you listening to this? And he was like, I just really like what he's saying. And I'm like, because I have given him access and exposed him to conscious rap, but I don't know how he got on. So I'm just like, my husband and I like trying to like figure it out. But thankfully he hadn't been listening to it recently, because I just like been like staying on him, like let's listen to something else. But no, like literally how our appetites, are manipulated, and how we have to consciously, that's why I said it, like we have to change our appetite the same way we change our eating habits. Like there are people now, like you don't eat beef, you don't eat red meat because you learn better, right? So the same thing with the type of media, and especially the music. The music is very powerful. That's why these people have invested in our art, right? Certain people investing in our art and putting out certain things to keep us disorganized. I think we have to understand that it's a tool of control to keep us from being united and to keep us from being successful and powerful.
Okay, Julian, do you want to?
I was going to add on to the music comments for sure. And I agree with you, in terms of the research that's been done on music and the effect. And even deeper than that, music for our people has always had a spiritual effect, right? Prior to our experience here, everything was spiritual, music was spiritual, and it touched us in a certain way. And I'm of the belief that our oppressors often know more about us than we know about ourselves. They've been able to tap into that effect and say, okay, let's give them these certain beats because they're the best in the world at it. Let's have them produce these things and let's put this message on top of it instead of that message. Let's shift from, Public Enemy to NWA, you know what I mean? And let's incentivize that. And so I think it does take us reclaiming the values. And then more broadly to your question, in terms of owning, what does it take to have more ownership of Black media? I think it does come from us owning our reality, owning our values, owning our culture, because there are Black media companies out there that are big that we all know and we could all name, but they're incentivized to work in the interest of American political system, of the American capitalist system, and put out things that have us serving that system instead of a system that we can create and work in the interest of. And then finally, I don't think that, so yeah, I do agree with this idea of a hub and us all coming together collectively. And one way that I think that could be effective is when it comes to values, for sure, having a shared understanding of what the values are that we're trying to put out into the world. Because even if we aren't necessarily housed under the same name of this is the B1 Media Group, at least we have values that we're putting out and we're on the same code in the way that those who are against us are on the same code. Because if we, check this out, if we had, billions of dollars, say we're going to buy a certain network, they can use economic warfare against us to get that out of there. They can use any type of trick in the bag to get that idea out of there. What I think it takes is viewing this from a mindset of warfare. And there's two types of warfare that come to mind. There's conventional warfare and there's guerrilla warfare. Conventional warfare, this sort of standard act of amassing troops towards a large-scale concerted effort, and it's an obvious attack. Guerrilla warfare, meaning the decentralized approach where you have these different units scattered throughout who can do surprise attacks and pop up. So imagine that with media, right? If we were to collectively say, okay, we're going to get on this type of code and this type of page, but we're not necessarily going to let them know, but they won't see it coming. We'll be able to connect with the community, win over the hearts and minds through values that are actually leading us to where we need to be in serving our interests as opposed to serving their own interests.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So I got a text and I want to make sure I make a quick announcement to everybody. I think we have officially sold out of tickets to the B1 ball. So there's no more space to upgrade or anything. We'd love to have everybody, but we only have space for a certain number. So I apologize to those of you who may have wanted to upgrade. That's sold out for now. I just want to let you guys know that. And next year, if you give us a reason, we can make the room bigger or something like that. But now let me tell you about Dr. Ma'at. Dr. Ma'at ain't just a bad sister. I mean, PhD in engineering. In fact, let's raise your hand if you know a Black woman with a PhD in engineering. How many? Okay. A couple hands went up. All right. No, y'all. See, y'all tricking me. See, y'all cheated. You cheated. Okay. But anyway, the reason I asked that is because it's very rare. And one thing I know about engineers, I'm not an engineer, I'm a mathematician, but our oldest has an engineering mind. And one thing I love about the engineering mindset is that engineers solve problems. Mathematicians solve problems. They don't just pretend to solve the problem. They don't just sort of, get all emotional and yell and scream and think that yelling and screaming solves the problem. They actually have to solve it. And so Dr. Ma'at, you've actually developed a media platform that you wanted to talk about where it's you solving problems and implementing something that you think will work. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Is her mic on?
Okay, there we go. I had to put my mouth a little closer to the mic. Thank you so much, Dr. Boyce Watkins, for allowing me time, in space to talk about the media platform. And so in 2013, I had at that particular time, my son Jalen was 3 years old. And I noticed that he kept asking to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, like it was just, just cartoon after cartoon. And I said, wow, he's really, this is mindless media. He's not learning anything from this. And so I said, you know what? I want to expose him to animations that are centered in our history and our culture, animations that teach Black pride, Black love, animations that teach Black history. So I started looking for them and I came across one animation, and that was Tell Me Who I Am by Kid Positive, Baba Dale Grayson. I don't know if you all heard of him out in California. And so that was the only cartoon that was centered around our history, our culture, and our achievements. So I said, now we have the books, okay? There are books that talk about it, but I'm talking about animations and catchy animations, as he said, maybe animations that utilize hip hop as a teaching tool. Couldn't find them. And so what I said was, you know what? Instead of complaining about the problem, I'm going to get the youth in my family together and we're going to create our own animated series. And we came up with the idea, Mel Trek, in my living room. Mel is short for melanin. Trek means journey. So we're taking you on a journey to learn about the history, culture, and achievements of melanated people. We use hip hop as a teaching tool. So in the episodes, each episode has 3 songs, and we're teaching the children about our history and our culture using like 90s hip hop beats. So the back in the drum, so 90 hip hop beats. And so we have one film available right now, Mel Trek Episode 1, Exploring Ancient Africa. And the objective of this film is to teach our children that our history does not begin with slavery. Dr. John Henry Clarke said that when we begin our history with slavery, everything looks like progress, right? right?
Mm.
All right. And so we tell our children flat out in this film that our history does not begin with slavery, but it begins with greatness. Black people are the mothers and fathers of humanity. So they learn that. They learn about our melanin, which was divinely given to us. They learned that Black people built thriving civilizations long before our contact with Europeans and Arabs. So they learned that in Meltrek episode 1. In Meltrek episode 2, exploring the pre-Columbian Americas, they learned that there were Black and brown people in the Americas prior to the arrival of Christopher Columbus. And so with the Meltrek series, we're teaching our children authentic Black history using hip hop music. And so family, please make sure you support this project. My son Harvey, who was actually the voice of two of the characters, there. And so we have the Meltrek program available for you today. Just go there. We have films, we have books. We're currently working on a curriculum that will be available online. And so make sure that you support the Meltrek series.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to ask you all about before, is that mic set up for questions? Is that why it's up? Okay. So it looks like we will have a little bit of time for questions. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and line up at the mic. Just when you do, I implore you, quick, concise questions, 30 seconds long, that kind of thing. No definitive statements, no ultimatums, mandates, manifestos, none of that stuff. Or we're gonna have to pull you off the stage. Believe me, Michelle will yank you off in mid-sentence, and then you're gonna be mad. So if you could do that, if you could respect everyone by doing that, that would be awesome. And so let me ask you all this next question, and maybe one answer, and then we can go and allow the audience to ask questions. What are your views on the pandemic and how the media became a weapon of the left and the right? And I want to start. Actually, y'all forgive me. I got to go straight to Zakia. I know everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got something good to say. But I know Zakia's been on this. And what I respect about you, Zakia, is that I've seen scenarios where you disagreed with me on certain stuff, but the way you handled it was so smart and diplomatic and very, what's the word? You allow freedom of speech. That's it. You say, okay, we disagree, but we still cool. And I that's easy, right? So right. Tell me, what was going on during the pandemic and what was your feeling in terms of, now that's kind of behind us a little bit, but it could happen again. What do you think was going on there?
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
There you go.
I was deeply hurt during the pandemic because I saw that people were being organized around fear. Mm. And people were like getting into it with family members, like telling you can't come to their house if you ain't got that shot. And I'm like, what in the world is going on with people? Like, when did we become so fascist? Mm. Like, and now, of course, we're seeing, I don't know if people saw the New York Supreme Court, because a lot of this stuff went to court. And I knew it was going to take like a year, maybe 2 years before people, so-called the conspiracy theorists, which I think I was one of those. The conspiracy theorists was like, oh, okay, the conspiracy theories are up now. Like, they were right about a lot of stuff, including
they at least deserve to be heard. Right?
Exactly.
They weren't being heard.
And people were not being heard. I mean, people's like pages were being taken down. Like, people's videos from YouTube were being taken down. I had never seen anything like this in my life. And to me, it proved the fact that, this is some nefarious BS, because you should not have to shut people up or pull people's videos or like censor the hell out of people who are not sticking to the script. It's very fascist. And I just hated to see some of our own people being used in mainstream media to talk down to our community. One of the things, I live in the DC region, and one of the things that I had to join the fight, and unfortunately it was mostly like white Republicans that were fighting it, but my county was considering putting a ban on people using public accommodations if you didn't have the shot. And I brought up the narrative around are we really going back to the 50s and 60s where Black people were disproportionately impacted by not being able to go into restaurants, but now you're using it because it's the shot? Because what I did was I pointed to our county's data. Even though the county that I live in is one of the most high-vax counties in the country, Black people's numbers were still the lowest. And I said, it's not because we don't have access. This is a rich county. Black people don't trust this mess. We don't trust it. And so y'all gonna put in a daggone policy that says we can't go to no restaurants, we can't go to no public accommodations, gyms, or anything because we don't have the shot. And so I joined the protest, like, no, do not do this here, because DC did it and my county borders DC. And so thankfully, I mean, they listened to the white people because it was mostly white people fighting it. And I thought it was interesting.
Well, and to make it clear, our policy at the convention is that we invited some guests who were okay with the shot, and we had some that were against the shot. The goal is to hear all the ideas so you can make the decision that's best for your family. So if you made a different decision from Zakia, don't feel embarrassed. We're not going to cuss you out and beat you up.
Oh no, never that.
And I think that's it. And I think that's important, and I respect that. Thank you. All right. So this brother has a question. What is your question, sir?
We all know that our kids are flooded with the indoctrination and the imagery. And so my question is, what's one tangible thing we can leave here with that we can say that this is what I need to start flooding, and this is how I need to start flooding my kids with positive images? What can we do moving away and leaving here?
Okay. We got some teachers and professors. Anybody?
Go ahead, sis. You want to go ahead, sis?
I mean, so I work in education justice. I appreciate you. We need more Black male teachers. Right now, y'all make up less than 2% of public school teachers across the country. The preschool to prison pipeline is real. One of the things that I think, number one, the sister gave us a resource right here, Mailtrek. So we want to make sure we do that. And I actually never told you this, but my husband and I was using Mailtrek for our youngest daughter and didn't even know it was yours. But no, I think that we should absolutely be looking for more positive. I believe we should be looking for more positive Black images, and specifically for our boys and our girls. But for our boys, they need to have more access to positive Black male images outside of just sports, outside of just the normal things that we normally show our young men. But certainly some of the people in here, engineers, people that you're networking with. I think that is really critical. That you use access also to this brother's platform, Push Black. It's amazing. That's another resource. There's a ton of resources now that we have access to technology. And then feel free to find positive YouTube channels. My YouTube channel is very positive. And it's an educational YouTube channel, Real Talk with ZSJ. So there's a number of things that you can point to help with the young people, for sure.
Absolutely.
I want to just chime in. I got to chime in on this one. So I agree with my sister. Definitely Mailtrek is a tool. I agree with her when she said that we need more Black teachers in the system. Currently, the public school domain is being run by white women. In fact, I had the honor of interviewing Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu this past Tuesday, and he talked about how just exposure to a Black teacher for 2 years increases grades, test scores, and increases the children's chances of going to college. So we need more Black teachers in the school system. So right now, 83% of teachers are white women. So literally the future of the Black race is in the hands of white women, right? And so we need to do that. We also need, family, to get our children in African-centered schools. There are African-centered schools, okay, that we can get our children into. And I know back in the day, the excuse was, well, I don't live near African-centered school. I don't have any African-centered education. Well, it's online now. You have the Uhuru Academy by Baba Amin and Mama Nkoyo. You can go online and get our children. My son, Jalen, he's in the 7th grade and he's with Baba Amin and Mama Nkoyo. The Uhuru Academy, an African-centered K-12 school system online. You also have Brother Marcus Klein and Freedom Home Academy in Chicago. You can access the school online. We did it during the pandemic when we didn't have a choice, right? So we can do it again. You also have Q Butter in New York, in Brooklyn. His school system is online. And so we need to get our children in African-centered education, okay? Where they, in African-centered education, for those who don't know, we utilize an African-centered pedagogy and curriculum that's centered around our experience to educate our children. So we need to push African-centered education. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. I just wanted to add one more school. The Aya Educational Institute, based in Atlanta, Georgia, is 20 years old. It was one of the first online African-centered schools. It is 20 years old. My son is a student in the 10th grade. Aya Educational Institute, ran by Baba Wakesa Mazimoyo and Mama Afia. That's right. Aya.
I think D had something.
What grade level do you teach?
5th grade.
5th grade. All right. It's real straightforward, bro. There's life and death implications based on what they're listening to right now, like musically. I know this for sure. So, one thing that I want to do is I'm gonna do a free Zoom session with your class that you teach. I'm gonna give you my information because I want to talk to them directly. All right. I'm gonna speak to the whole class. I'm gonna do a whole hour-long session that normally, you know what I mean, but this for free, this for y'all. Because we can't just talk metaphorically about what they need to do. They need to literally have somebody who, when they see this person, they like, man, that dude is just as cool as NBA Youngboy is to me. Man, that dude is just as swagged up, but he putting something else on my mind. So the music that I make is literally to provide an alternative. This brother in tears, man. Y'all make some noise for this brother, man. For real. So I got you on the strength of that. And when I'm putting a new album out, which I was going to tell y'all at the end, I'm putting a new album out. And this is something to where I'm going to make sure that all of your students that, you know, that they got a copy of the album. I'm about to adopt your classroom, bro. Real talk. And cause I know I was a 6th grade teacher. So I know what that brother going through. And then what I need in return is just, there's not an industry. That's why when brothers like Dr. Boyce create platforms for people like me to be able to thrive in, like this is a blessing because the mainstream doesn't want what I'm coming with. They don't want what we all represent. So I need y'all support. You feel me? So when we get to the end of this panel, I'm going to tell y'all the way to do that because I'm here to break the model, break the system. But for right now, brother, yeah, you got a new champion that's going to help you out.
All right. I love that.
And
now, I'm gonna interrupt. Julian, hold on, give me a second. I want y'all to know that if y'all answer every question like this, we're only gonna get through 2 questions.
All right.
This is the first panel I ever had where I didn't have to. The audience was disciplined, but the panelists kind of went on. But I love it's a great enthusiasm. Unfortunately, our time is a little limited, so I don't want us to get pushed off. And we can finish this online. Like we should do this panel again virtually and invite everybody. That way, y'all can talk as long as you want. So, Brother Julian, I'll let you go ahead. And I know you have something to say in response. And then I'd like to make sure we can get a chance to ask a question real quick. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be quick with this. So I absolutely agree with, it's starting with having access to all these types of platforms that are focusing on us and our interests. And we also have to look at the reality of the situation that, most of the peers of our kids are going to be on a whole different page, right? And there's this real thing called peer pressure. And we have to be mindful of that. And so I think what it then takes is making sure that we, as either parents or those who are responsible for kids in our community, being solid in our values and what we believe as far as those working towards the interests of Black people. So what my wife and I try to do with our kids who are 4 and 7 is even when they access some of the stuff on the mainstream, we try to watch it with them and we try to pause and ask questions like, hey, is this aligned with this value? Is this teaching you about community or is this teaching about what to do for yourself? And so being able to, from an early age, help them interrogate what they're watching too. So even if they're watching it or even if they're, feeling pressure from their friends, they're able to start thinking more critically about what they're consuming.
I like that critical thinking skill. I love that. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Francine. I'm from Brooklyn by way of Haiti. I'm short. Good morning. My name is Franceline. I'm from Brooklyn by way of Haiti. My training is in psychology. I was trained by the best, Florida A&M.
Nice.
FAMU is in the house. Okay. So my training is in mental health. During the pandemic, I was a teacher, and I was just telling the volunteer that our program in My Brother's Keeper, we had absolutely no Black teachers in our program, and that program was spearheaded by a white guy. So as the panel was discussing, I was thinking about the mental health of our people. So my question is, are people attracted to certain content in the media that help them escape their reality? Because the Black experience in America is so challenging that we have to click on these things that help us escape our reality.
My wife is a therapist and an addiction expert, and she will absolutely say yes. Also, she would say that the three ways to program the subconscious mind are trauma, repetition, and symbolism. And so if you look at a lot of hip hop music, first of all, you can't really be considered a real rapper unless you've been through a lot of trauma. You came out the trap, got shot at, got beat up, grew up in poverty, right? Repetition, the music, repetition, same beat, same everything over and over and over again, right? Same chorus. And then the third part is the symbolism. A hip hop music video works best when you have the right imagery. You got bottles of liquor, you smoking something, drinking something, you got a gun on your hip, you got a girl in a bikini over here and a Lamborghini in your front yard. So those are three things that are used to literally tap so deep into our subconscious mind we don't know it's there. If any panelists want to address what the sister
I think you answered the question, Dr. Boyce.
I did, and I apologize.
You know what you did, and you answered it wonderfully.
Thank you for allowing me to do that. I wanted to be concise because I want y'all to do the talking. I apologize for that. Okay, all right. Okay, I know we talked all week about Black men apologizing. Well, I'll apologize to y'all. That's it. I ain't apologizing outside this room. Don't y'all tell nobody. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Laura. I'm from Atlanta. And I wanted to ask the panelists, the first question was, can you tell me about the curriculum as far as if it addresses some of the topics that Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Frances Wessling from that vantage point? But my main question is, I hold a degree in political science, so I read way too much legislation. And I wanted to know your opinion in regards to some of the things I see coming down the pipeline that affects our community. In Atlanta, last week, they passed an ordinance where the children are allowed to have telehealth medical appointments during school hours. It's under the guise of parents don't have enough time to take their kids to the doctor and children are missing too much school time. With that said, it's as important as mental health is. Do you think that that is a manipulation to usurp parents' authority and get overly involved in our process and our problems and our concerns?
Sister, thank you so much for highlighting that. It's very, very unfortunate, but we are seeing an erosion of parents' rights across states, where basically our children are becoming wards of the state, and it's whatever the state says is good and right for our children, and not what parents say they want, their children to have access to. I think it is very dangerous. And again, absolutely, they're using manipulation and say, oh, all the parents, they're too tired, no. I think that, the erosion of parental rights when it comes to medical decisions actually did not start here. It started with, and I live in a state where this happens, a 14-year-old girl can go and get an abortion without her parents' knowledge. And I feel like a lot of Black people do not know that you live in states where your 14-year-old can go get a whole operation and you not know nothing about it. So it did. So these new type of things, because that has been already set in certain states, they're just dropping other things on top of it now. Because if it's telehealth, where are the parents? And the kids are sitting there with another grown person. Where are the parents? Like, where is somebody who can help that child make a decision? Children should not be making decisions on their own. I believe that parents should absolutely have a right to be there with their children. And I'm glad that you raised that for this audience.
Just very quickly, I'm
parents
sorry.
should
I
have
wanted
a
to
say in their
ask.
kids' lives. That's so radical, Zakia. Stop being so crazy now. Talking about
I'm
parents
sorry.
having
I
rights.
also wanted to ask about, is it plausible for us to look at sovereignty and being a more, even though I hold the degree, I don't understand what that means for us legally.
Oh, my husband have to tell you about the more stuff because I'm not as knowledgeable on that.
Yeah, I'm not that's anybody. Okay. I think we might pass that one. We can have a panel on that one day. I think we should have people that really are knowledgeable on it so nobody misspeaks.
I'll say something that's related, but not directly to that. But I think the question does highlight just the need for us to continue to control our communities and the institutions in our communities, because, what the state is trying to do is separate parents from children and get it at an early age and sort of make them, replicate these systems that are anti what we're standing for. And so it does take us on a community level being offensive and saying we're going to build these institutions that offer these services. If parents individually do feel like they don't have time to do and actually don't have time to take their kids to get this type of care, who are those in the community that are able to support that so these things don't happen? And how can we get that knowledge out to the community?
Excellent. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamal from Miami. I have a question and kind of a radical idea that I wanted to share.
Okay. As long as it's a 45-second radical idea, go for it.
45 seconds. All right. And and the idea is as far as giving Black people a platform to be heard. I think Dr. Claude Anderson said that we are the American dream. We don't realize the power that we have. And I was thinking, like, in the area of sports, imagine if Black professional athletes across all sports said, you know what, we're not going to play no more. Not only that, but be your brother's keeper as far as holding up the other ones that aren't able to support their lifestyles during the time. And imagine if we got Black college players to attend HBCUs instead of the other colleges, because all of the money that's being pumped into these universities. So imagine if we could somehow convince these individuals to do that. And my question is, how do we go about doing that? Because if you think about the impact on society during COVID, when there was no sports, you also saw what happened financially. You saw what happened psychologically and socially. So my question is, how do you think we can address these athletes and possibly get something like that going? And that could definitely, if you hit this country in its pockets, they'll give us a platform to be heard, and we can get some of these great ideas by these great people out there. Thank you.
Yeah. So I appreciate that question. And in my experience in talking to some of the types of folks that you've mentioned, there are folks who are interested in supporting certain work covertly, but not overtly at this point yet. And so getting their support as far as it relates to media institutions and media properties like ours would be a step, but not the only step. They saw what happened to Kaepernick and whoever else when they actively take a stand. So they're kind of scared right now, but I think they have resources to operate on a covert level. But in terms of having a platform for us to be heard more broadly, let's take a step back. So what media can do, media has the power to set the agenda for the public. Sometimes they're good at telling people what to think, but more importantly, they're skilled at telling people what to think about. And we see this when certain things just come out of nowhere and rise to the top of the agenda in terms of media. What we have the opportunity to do through independent Black media is listen to the community more deeply. And that's something we're doing at Push Black. We're always talking to the community and saying, what are the concerns? We did a massive survey, one of the biggest that's been done recently, to see what issues line up on the public agenda for the community. Number one priority for the community was Black unity. And that was before jobs, that was before criminal justice. And so nobody else is saying, okay, how can we achieve this? They're more trying to get us distracted with these little issues that are on their priority list. And so I think it takes the media properties listening to the community and saying, we're going to amplify the concerns to a different way to get certain concerns to the top of the agenda. And on a more tangible level, I think we've seen this recently, past couple of years, at least from my understanding, with the reparations conversation, which I believe was a very grassroots social media effort by Black folks who were having these conversations. Next thing you know, public officials are talking about this on a platform. So we have the power through media, through social media, to raise up these issues so our voice can be heard. It just takes independent media creators like us to put that out there and not rely on the mainstream media to do that work for us.
See, didn't I tell y'all he was smart? This brother's on point. He's polished, he's sharp, he's got a plan, and I love that. Clap for that. We got a lot of Black men like him and that are learning how to be like him, and I want people to see that, right? And don't forget, there actually is a reparations rally in DC early November. Does anybody know about that? Yeah, there's going to be a reparations rally. I agreed to go speak. I don't know who the other speakers are. I don't know if I agree or disagree with them. I do not care. I just knew that this was an issue that we can rally around. So if you live in the area, it's out there. I want you all to know about that. Okay, next question, sir.
Hi, my name's John. I'm from Orlando. This is directed towards the lady who's doing Miltrick and D1. How do you stay independent with your vision? How do you stay motivated for it? Because I was talking about y'all to my sister last night, and she couldn't understand why you wouldn't go with a record label, all this other stuff. I said, no, they're really good at what they do. And if you could just break that down.
I don't like being a slave. And straight up, I just don't. I don't like feeling like I can't control my creativity. One of the biggest songs of my career, a song about paying off my student loans, you know what I mean? Escaping the financial plantation of being in debt. I was excited to share this with the world, share this with my community. I remember going up to my record label, playing it for them in New York, and they laughed at me and they called it corny. And they told me, they said, your fan base probably don't even go to college. They literally told me this. Yeah. So, man, that was one of the worst feelings of my life. I realized in that moment that as much as they sold me on these dreams, the same way these jobs do for a lot of y'all, they'll sell you on this dream of how much they want to pour into you and how much they believe in your vision. And this is going to be this great atmosphere. It's like, nah, now they got you. And now that they got you, they know that you need them, and you too afraid to bet on yourself and to divorce them or break up with them to truly pursue your God-given calling. Man, I got tired of feeling like that. And for me, the intellect that I have had to be coupled with the courage. You know what I mean? You can have skills, but you got to have the courage to know. And that's why for me, like my connection with God is a real one. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people can rap. So for me, bro, it was I never look at myself and be like, man, I'm just the best rapper alive. Like, man, there's so many people that can rap. There's so many people that can do all these things. But I had to truly know that if I took a step out to become independent, that I had the business acumen, that I had the access to people who may be smarter than me in certain ways if I needed them, but also that this was a God mission and not just a D1 mission. So for me, it's powerful. Yeah, it's powerful to be independent. And it's like an adrenaline rush because I literally work for y'all. I don't work for RCA Records anymore. I work for y'all. So people are like, D, why you take every picture? Why you go above and beyond to respond to people and you're so personable? It's because I'm here to be a servant leader. So I serve you all. And being a servant leader has never led me astray, and it's never led my light bill to not be paid. You know what I mean? So it works itself out when you approach your craft with a servant leadership mindset. And that's all I say.
All right, excellent. Next question, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Connie Kay. I'm from Boston. I'm a minister, author. I've been in healthcare for over 30 plus years. I'm switching gears for a little bit, but still under the guise of the topic. Relationships. We're talking about media and imagery and all this stuff, but the relationships between men and women, I feel like there's a divide there, especially in our community. And I just wanted the opinion of the panel, Dr. Boyce, and this wonderful panel. In the wake of the death of Kevin Samuels, and I follow different people, Lateris Whitfield and Tony Gaskins, I just wanted to know from your opinion, what do you think that the media has to do with it, and how much responsibility do we have to be more connected to one another, man and woman, as a culture, our families, instead of this divide that we've been in? So that's my question.
Well, you know what? Let me say this. We are having a panel specifically on relationships. And so I'd invite you definitely to resubmit that question at that time, just so we can stay on the focus on media. However, there is a media portrayal of Black relationships. My wife talks about it a lot because, you know, she's a relationship therapist, and she always says that there are very few examples on television of a Black man and a Black woman loving each other. Yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts about that in terms of agendas and the portrayal of Black relationships through media?
Yeah, I'm married, been, you know, over a decade now. And let's be real clear. Black families are an institution. It is the first institution that we should be protecting, like, with everything. And so, yes, the media, I don't know if people have been noticing, but I notice it on everything, not just even national media, but even like media local to the DMV area. Buses riding by and there's some white man and a Black woman with locks kissing. And I'm just like, what is this about? So I think it goes back to what our brother said here, the whole when you talked about the covert versus the overt, like, it's more covert now in the promotion of, oh, love is love. You know, you got Black people saying that, you know what I mean? Like, Black love is not like the glue that had literally kept us together as Black folks in this country for decades. And I believe that they know that. And so the attack on our relationships is a direct attack on our unity as a community, in my opinion. So yes, I protect Black love and believe in Black love.
Come on, Zach.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so the next question, Herb Strather,
Yes,
45
sir.
seconds.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
My name is Herb Strather, and I'm a youth advocate. I'm a real estate coach, and I'm here to push for the youth. When I grew up, I was at the back of the class. I had bumps all over my face. I stuttered. And an Optimist Club came along and saved my life. And I have a debt I can never repay. Now, so I'm committed to youth. And I hope all of you agree that the young people is the most important thing that we got to save our youth.
Yes, they are.
Now, we're here talking about what we could do. But the power in this room, we could change the world. Here's what we're doing. And I'm going to ask those of you who would be interested to join me. I build Optimist Clubs in the world. I built 154 Optimist Clubs. Now, dig this. We're working with the question of how can we fundamentally change the direction of our youth and make them star students, someone that's sitting in the back of the class like me, that the teachers ignore. How can I become that B student? Boyce, if you and I had a job to do, to produce a B student, what would you do? You know what I would do?
All right, we need the question now.
Let me make a statement.
I thought that was the question I was going to answer.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. So go ahead, Mr.
Okay.
But I definitely need the question.
You all can answer that question in your mind, but here's what I believe. I believe that you got to pay them. You got to reward them. You got to build STEAM centers, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And if you don't think we're smart, us Black little kids, then play us a game. Take out your phone and beat us. You've got to give us something that we love: drones, robot building. Now, I'll be finished in 1 minute.
Now, let's end with a question for the panel.
So
too.
right now, I'm building an Optimist Club in Detroit, the AM Optimist Club. The chief judge, I've convinced him.
All right, you know what? You ain't gonna be able to ask no more questions, Mr.
Okay, no more questions. Listen, anybody interested in forming an Optimist Club to save the kids in your community, please see me. I'm Herb Strather.
All right. Herb Strather out of Detroit. A dedicated Black man.
Respect.
God bless him. All right. Yes, Lord. All right, ma'am. Next question, please.
I'm sorry. It is a question. That's a tough act to follow, though. Okay.
We love you, Herb. He's a great Black man. Go ahead.
My name is Micah Simone. I'm from the South. Just to make it quick, I love what y'all were speaking about when you spoke on education mostly and the online platforms that are available for our African diaspora and learning more about ourselves so that we can become more unified. But how do we reach the students that are already submerged within the public school system that have access to those social cues and so forth? It's very important for us to learn about ourselves, yes, but how do we turn those ideals into brick and mortar ideals for them to actually have a place, not to escape, but to learn, to pour into themselves, for individuals like yourselves to come and visit with them and understand where they are, meet them exactly where they are, not only for the students that are, or the parents that are searching for that online, but the students that are already in the system. We need to take them out the system, in my opinion. And
absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, absolutely, sister. No. I agree 100% with you. On my platform, I always advocate for parents to pour their children out. I call it the public food system. So I say, get your children out of the public food system because the school system's not teaching them how to think. The school system is teaching them what to think. And so not only, sister, am I advocating for that, but we also go into the school because some parents can't pull their children out and they don't have the means of doing that. And so we also go into the school. And the brother that just spoke, he spoke about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, but also add agriculture, art, agriculture, and mathematics, right? Okay, because we can't call ourselves a free people. We can't feed ourselves. So we have to add agriculture to that. And so I developed a program called Conscious Ingenuity. You all can Google it right now, consciousingenuity.com, where we utilize STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, agriculture, and mathematics to build character, confidence, and capabilities. And we expose the children to cybersecurity, robotics, electric circuits, all sorts of stuff. Okay. And the objective is to build that, like you said, problem solving skills, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and those things. And so not only are we offering this online, we actually go into the school system. So we have a contract right now with the Y of Central Maryland, so the YMCA, where they have schools all across Maryland. And so we go into the school. So I agree with you, sister, that not only should we be online, but these programs, like he said, what was it called? The Octopus Club. We need to go directly into the public school system to reach those children who cannot or don't have access to the online African-centered schools. And not only do that, but we have to be involved in actually building brick and mortar. So we're in the process right now of securing a commercial property right in Baltimore to start an African-centered STEAM academy for K through 12 students right in Baltimore. So not only building online platforms, but building brick and mortar institutions for our children.
Excellent. All right. So the brother behind you, I think that will be the last question we have time for. Then I'll let the panelists.
And then we have one virtual question that I'll ask them.
Okay, absolutely. And then after that, I'm gonna let the panelists close out, and then we'll be ready for our break. Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Edmund Ford Jr. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm a former mathematics teacher, taught 14 years, and I'm now the senior financial literacy coordinator for the City of Memphis Library System. I'm also a county commissioner, so I'm not a fan of the local media either. I've had my issues with the mainstream media because sometimes I'm a little bit too black for them, even though I've gotten 62 pieces of legislation passed. You know, Jay Morrison talked to us last night. He just wants to uplift us, but he talked about the prices he had to pay. Mm-hmm. And one thing that he mentioned was, if we come together on common values and are willing to pay the price, we can have the future and destiny that all of us deserve. So my question is, can you share what prices you may have had to pay or foresee us paying if/when we work on creating our own platforms so that we can tell the true stories and not what the mainstream media wants us to believe?
Oh, man, that's a good one right there, Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Great question. Well, he's got genius in his family. His cousin is can I tell him? Your cousin, Harold Ford, a member of Congress, right? He was a member of Congress. Yeah, they did something happened and they took him down, but he's a great guy and he's doing great work. And so I respect your question, man. Does anybody want to address that question? The price you've had to pay in order to?
She mentioned it earlier, the shadow banning. They will shadow ban you. They will pull your videos down. So you have issues with that. And then you have the internal fighting. I know we always talk about the external fighting, right? The white man is doing this, but there's also a lot of internal battles that happen right within our community. There are a lot of Black collaborators right here in our community. I know that Malcolm X, you know, he talked about the field nigga and the field nigga and the house nigga. Those personalities still exist today. There's nothing new under the sun. And so we're so when you say the challenges, we also have those Black collaborators who collaborate with white folks, who collaborate with the powers that be to take down the things that we are creating. So I just wanted to say that, Dr. Boyce.
I love that. Okay. Well, you know what, in terms of price to pay, in accounting and in finance, when you lose money or you give money up or you give up resources because you're trying to accomplish a goal, you have a couple categories that could belong in. You could have an expense where the money's gone, you're not going to get it back, and it kind of brings you down. But then you also have things that become investments. And so I want to make sure everybody knows the difference between an expense and an investment. They're both very costly. One tears you down, one builds you up. So when you feel like you're paying the cost, when the universe is putting you through the hardship that is going to occur because you are committed to a purpose that not everybody agrees with, understand that you're still growing yourself into a bigger, stronger, more capable human being because you've learned how to navigate the world in a more extraordinary way. So I've never really paid much of a cost. I've just made a lot of investments.
That's right. And I would say to that question too, even if it is a cost, it's temporary. Keep building, keep building, keep going, right? But I do agree we have to figure out how to deal with the internal strife, and especially those Black collaborators on behalf of white supremacy. That a lot of times takes us down before the outside can even get to us.
Yeah. I'll add one more thing to that too. So it's the idea of a opportunity cost as well. You know, all of us have immense talents and some high level understanding of a lot of the, what we need to do to be successful in the world. We could be doing something else other than what we're all doing and getting a whole bunch more money. So there's an opportunity cost there in terms of missing out on all the treats that America will dangle in your face. But as Dr. Boyce said, we got to look at it as an investment in the community, because while it's not about us as individuals, right? While we're trying to do something for the community, it might take years or decades for that to pay off, maybe for our families, but ideally, at least for the whole community. If you look at somewhere like Amazon, they didn't make profit for at least a decade, many years when they first started, but they told the investors, hey, we got this vision for the future, and now they're one of the top companies in the world. And that's the way that I see the work that we're doing now. While we may not be out here trying to get all the ad dollars from all the big corporations or take money from whoever to put forth someone else's interests, we're trying to put the community's interest first, make that investment in the community so it'll pay off in the long term in the future in a different type of way.
Right on. I love that. Excellent answer. All right. Ma'am,
So-
you said you had one question.
Yeah,
virtual.
there's a virtual question. I will assume that this person would like to remain anonymous, and if you didn't, I apologize, but I'll read the question. What do you think about teaching children the laws to learn how money works, interest, trust, and the difference between law and legal to truly live free on the land?
Anybody want to answer that?
Oh my goodness.
The answer is yes. They should learn everything. We want to teach them as long as it's accurate information.
That's right.
And it comes from us. So absolutely. And remember, education isn't just teaching you information. It's teaching you your value system. It's giving you your culture. So I don't believe we should hand the education of our children over to anybody else. That's our trillion-dollar asset.
That's right.
All right. So what I would like to do is for each panelist, we got about 6 more minutes. So if each panelist could maybe, 60 to 90 seconds, kind of summarize the panel, let people know how they can follow you, because we all here want to support Black. So I will start again, ladies first. I hope the gentlemen don't mind. We will start with Miss Zakia and then go to Dr. Ma'at, then D1 and Julian. You can bring us our brother from Pushback. Okay, Miss Zakia.
Yeah, so you all can follow me on YouTube, Real Talk with ZSJ. And shout out to you, Dr. Boyce. Helped me get some followers before. And you can also follow me on Twitter I'm at Zakia Shinyere. I'm also Zakia Sankara Jabbar on Facebook. I am not on TikTok. Yeah, I can't do it. But I am on Instagram as well. Real Talk with ZSJ. Thank you.
Well, you can connect with me on Instagram at Dr. So Dr.Maat, M-A-A-T. I think it's an underscore, isn't it, Zakia? Yep, it's an underscore. So Dr.Maat _. I'm on IG, I'm on Twitter, but on Twitter it's Dr._Maat on Twitter. Also, family, connect with me on YouTube. I have a platform called Truth to Power Talk with Dr. Maat. I brought on the greats. Dr. Boyce Watkins has been on my platform, Professor James Small, Dr. Kaba Kamene. I've had on Dr. William Sandy Darity. I've had on so many greats have come onto the platform to talk about different issues. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Truth to Power Talk with Dr. Maat on YouTube. You can also email me at dr.maat.msu@gmail.com. That MSU is short for Morgan State University. All right. So dr.maat.msu@gmail.com. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Also, if you want access to the curriculum, you can go to edanimeproductions.com. That's EDANIME.com. And also to get access to Conscious Ingenuity curriculum, just go to consciousingenuity.com.
All right. Excellent.
Pass the mic.
All my social media platforms are the same. It's so that's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's D1 Music. DEE, the number 1, music. So y'all can follow me on all social media platforms at D1 Music. When you go to stream the music on Spotify and Apple Music and what have you, title, it's just D1, DEE dash the number 1. That's how you spell my name. Website, d1music.com. And last but not least, actually most importantly, I'm about to break the paradigm when it comes to the rap game. And I'm going direct to consumer with my next release that I'm putting out. It's dropping on Black Friday. This is my brand new album. Yes, it's okay. We could clap. Yeah. Okay. It's my last album, it was called God and Girls, because those are the two most powerful forces in the world, God and Girls. You heard me? Straight up. And it was my highest Billboard charting album ever. It was, it debuted number top 10 on the Apple Music iTunes charts. And all that stuff sounds sexy and good according to their system, right? But I recognize that they still paying us 0.00001 cent for every stream. You know what I mean? So I could say I'm a Billboard top 10 charting artist, but that don't mean anything in real life. So I'm going direct to consumer, and the model that I'm doing for my next album is called God and Girls 2, right? I'm letting you name your price. Whatever you want to pay for the album, you can get it directly from me. I will send it to you digitally on November 25th. That's Black Friday. So y'all can go to God and Girls 2, the number 2.com. You can do that right now, actually. And I want to do it right now because when everybody's bragging on their first week, Billboard, charting and all that, I'm going to be like, this is how many albums I sold directly to my fans because we got a real connection like this. So I need y'all, everybody that's like, what else can we do to support, This is what you can do, all right? I'm going to give y'all my phone number as well. This is my business line. So I'll send you the website directly in case you don't have it. It's 504-414-0391. Y'all just shoot me a text and I'm going to send everybody godandgirls2.com. Y'all can go right now, name your own price, whatever you want to pay for it, and get that thing directly from me. And for the first people to get it from this conference, I got something special for y'all as well on November 25th, in addition to the album. But that's a little surprise, you heard me? So yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Very cool. Nice. Julian.
Yeah. So thanks again for having me. To close out, I'd say we have to remember that there's an existential threat facing our community. You know, there's no law of the universe that says Black people will continue to exist, and we have to be real about that. We have to understand that it takes concerted effort to maintain who we are and build towards a brighter future of who we want to be. the way that that has been done for centuries in terms of maintaining our existence is through culture and values passed down through culture. One of the primary means for us to do that has been through storytelling as a people, right? Media is the way that we're all doing that up here and continuing to pass down certain values, because you have these outside values that are coming in and trying to get us to go in a different direction. I want to see Black people continue to survive and thrive, and I'm sure you all do too. So the final point I'd say, it actually relates to what our brother Jay Morrison was talking about yesterday in terms of having shared values to build toward these economic goals that we could achieve. But where do those values come from, right? We can't just automatically say these values are what we're going to subscribe to. But what you can subscribe to is all of our content that puts out certain values that will then create this flywheel and create this momentum and create a critical mass of people who are united around values. We don't need everybody united, but enough of us united around values to then go out and take critical actions to maintain our people and build new civilization. So you can check all this out. You can check me out, my company out at Push Black on all the platforms that you consume media. You can support there. Appreciate you.
All right. All right. So if everybody could clap for all these amazing panelists that we had. Stand up. Can you give them a standing ovation? Can you stand up, please? All of these people did a great job. Julian Walker from Push Black, Zakia, Sankofa Jabbar, Sankara Jabbar, Dr. Ma'at, D1. All right, and so the panelists, you guys are welcome to stay or move on. I want to let everybody know it's okay. Y'all can stay or go. It's up to you. Up to you. You welcome it. You home here. You home. All right. So right now we're about to take a break, and during that break, I'm going to go into the room that has the big cubes, and I'm going to go sign some books after I run to the restroom. And after that, we're going to have a sit down with Larry Miller. Larry is the chairman of the Air Jordan brand, and we're going to have a great, honest conversation about everything he's accomplished for the Michael Jordan's brand and the thinking behind what it took to build a multi-billion-dollar enterprise that he's built. So we're going to do that. We're going to meet again at, it looks like 12:10 is when we will begin. So until that time, I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll sign some books for you, and I look forward to seeing you all. I'm getting a hand wave. What's up? I'm reading the schedule that's right in front of me. Sorry? Oh, it starts at 11:40. Oh, okay. Well, I saw 12:10 on here, but either way, okay. Make that 11:40, y'all. All right. So, oh, it's Mike Roberts today. Oh, okay. Yeah, somebody gave me the wrong schedule. It's okay though. Y'all get it. Y'all get it. So sorry, Michael. All right. So my brother will be talking to Michael. We'll do the other one a little bit later. All right. See y'all in a little bit.